Good afternoon, everyone. I thought it'd be nice to give a short pre-Easter message. And I want to talk to you today about someone called Simon of Cyrene. We encounter him in the Gospels after Jesus has been mistreated badly, after his betrayal, arrest and flogging, and having been condemned to death. Jesus was forced to carry the cross, or at least the crossbeam of it, to Calvary, known chillingly as Golgotha, the place of the skull. Jesus had been brutally treated, losing a lot of blood, and was at the point of physical, emotional and spiritual exhaustion. So unsurprisingly, he wasn't able to carry this heavy object out of the city and up the hill to the crucifixion site. In Matthew 27, verse 32, we read, "Along the way, they came across a man named Simon, who was from Cyrene, and the soldiers forced him to carry Jesus' cross." Centuries later, some Gnostics who denied the possibility of Jesus being crucified contended that it was in fact Simon who was crucified instead of Jesus. In fact, I think you'll find that in the Quran, the Islamic teaching is that Judas Iscariot was crucified instead of Jesus. But both of these assumptions or assertions are of course ridiculous, because presumably the chief priests, the crowd, and in fact everyone would have realised that Jesus was not the man on the cross. He was, after all, rather well known. In today's terms, he would have been a famous celebrity. And John's Gospel account actually records that his own mother was there close enough to hold a conversation with him. Presumably she would have known who was her son and who wasn't. But what happened to Simon from Cyrene, and who was he? Now, Cyrene was a city in the Roman Empire, but a long way from Jerusalem, being found in North Africa, in modern-day Libya. He had travelled a great distance to come, presumably to celebrate Passover, the great festival of the Jews which celebrated their deliverance from slavery in Egypt. And we don't know if he was a Jew or, in fact, a Gentile believer in the God of Israel. But we would guess that it's the latter, because in Mark's Gospel, in Mark 15, verse 21, Mark mentions Simon's sons, and their names were Alexander and Rufus, hardly Jewish names, making it likely that he was a proselyte believer. But what also seems clear, and not surprising given how close he got to Jesus in standing with him under that cross or crossbeam, was that he was profoundly affected by the experience. In fact, people couldn't meet Jesus and not be affected. They'd either hate him and find him a threat, or they would want to follow him and offer their lives to him and give him all they have. We don't have a middle ground with Jesus. We either love him and respond to him, or he's like a swear word and a cuss to us and someone we don't want anything to do with. It's either or. You can't have a middle ground with your decision about Christ. We either accept him or reject him. And I guess that Simon was profoundly affected by the experience, and also guess that he stayed to watch the crucifixion, not out of some morbid curiosity, but because he had grown to love and worship that man he'd only just met. And the fact that Mark, the gospel writer, knows both his and his son's names. Remember, the Roman soldiers wouldn't have called him by name. They wouldn't have known his name. They just thought they'll pick on some random man in the crowd to do their dirty work for them. But the fact that Mark knows their names suggests that Simon put his trust in Jesus and brought his sons up to also believe in him. This Easter, may we likewise come afresh to our crucified, risen Lord and reignite our trust in him, the one who suffered and died for our sakes, and of course gloriously rose again. Happy Easter to you all. May you know God's blessing and presence always. Amen.